Hi, Franklin Allaire here again, and welcome to our fifth and final video in our basic training series. In this video, we're going to be talking about some of the things that you should be aware of when working with students on your Science Olympiad team. Science Olympiad is a program that brings adults into close contact with elementary, middle, and high school age students. In addition to our goals of improving the quality of science, technology, engineering, and math education for students throughout Hawaii, it's also our overarching goals to protect students and prevent abuse, to protect coaches, parents, and volunteers, and to establish a uniform code of conduct for students and coaches that participate in Science Olympiad. So who exactly is a coach? A coach is anyone who's going to have close, regular contact with your students. They're individuals who are in a position of authority, supervision, and trust with your students. And examples are going to include, of course, teachers and administrators who are employed at your school, but also parents of students who attend your school and who may or may not be associated with your team. However, a coach also will include individuals who are not affiliated with your school, but assist with events, fundraising, transportation, and team management. The difficult thing is that a physical, emotional, or sexual predator could be anyone. There's no look or behavior pattern that sets them apart. Predators tend to target vulnerable populations such as children. They come from all backgrounds and can be male or female, and are generally very likable and have warm personalities and may have limited relationships with other adults. We highly recommend that your school establish a code of conduct. And we feel that your code of conduct should be based on things such as the Science Olympiad Code of Ethics, as well as the Student, Coach, and Parents Pledges, all of which can be found on the National Science Olympiad website at www.soinc.org. We also recommend that you check with your school's volunteer policy, as well as the volunteer policy for the Hawaii State Department of Education. It's inevitable that coaches are going to come in contact with students on your Science Olympiad team. So here are some best practices for the prevention of any possible types of abuse. Always have 2 or more volunteers whenever you're working with students. Volunteers should avoid being one-on-one with students, and private conversations with students should be within sight of others who are aware of the conversation. Any touching should be appropriate and respectful, and this includes high fives, shaking hands, and pats on the back. And you should also be aware of any inappropriate gifts, trips, affection, or attention from volunteers towards students. And this could include invitations for sleepovers or parties at the volunteer's house when parents aren't included, as well as excessive displays of interest in particular students or a group of students. You should be aware of relationships between students and coaches that become private or secretive. Profanity on your team should never be allowed, and you should treat students with respect and provide encouragement at all times. You should also not allow demeaning nicknames even among teammates, and discipline should be part of a meaningful behavior modification strategy aligned to your school's discipline policy and never acted on in anger. Corporal punishment is never allowed, no matter who says it's okay. And you should always be clear with both your coaches and students about pointing out inappropriate behavior. And a lot of these can be taken care of throughout the year by clearly explaining rules and behavior expectations to both coaches and students. Recognizing abuse can be difficult. Changes in behavior may offer the only clue that a student is a victim of abuse. These behaviors may include depression, withdrawal from student activities and classes such as Science Olympiad, thoughts of or attempts at suicide, aggression, and immature acts. Uncharacteristic changes in behavior that last more than a few days indicate a possible need for intervention, but are not a certain indicator of abuse because there's many other causes for stress among students. You should be aware of any statements by members of your Science Olympiad team concerning inappropriate touching or physical harm. Physical indicators of abuse will include questionable injuries such as bruises or lacerations in soft tissue areas of a student body. This will include the abdomen, face, back, and back of legs. Injuries to genital areas may indicate sexual abuse, and tether marks, rope burns, and abrasions on a student's wrists, ankles, or neck are also indicators of probable abuse. As we all know, students tend to participate in more than one activity at school. Some students who participate in athletic competitions may be prone to injuries. The location of the injury may indicate whether the injury was due to abuse or competition. Injuries that happen due to athletic competition are most likely to be in contact point areas such as the knees and elbows. They're less likely to be on the abdomen, across the back of legs, or on the face. If you suspect any kind of suspicious activity, that should be reported to your head coach or appropriate administrator immediately. If you suspect a student is in immediate danger, notify the police in addition to team coaches and the school's administrators. Nearly all states, including Hawaii, have laws requiring individuals to report suspected abuse. Reporting is not the same as accusing. It simply alerts professionals to investigate cases of suspicious activity. And when in doubt, consult your State Department of Child Welfare Services or your school's administrators for additional information on mandated reporters. Again, our goal in Science Olympiad is to prevent any kind of abuse that may occur with students on our teams. And so some simple steps to avoid any kind of abuse include knowing your coaches, whether they're teachers at your school, parents who are associated with the team, or individuals from outside organizations. It's really important for you as a coach to know who the other coaches are, what brought them to Science Olympiad, and what motivated them to become a coach for your school's Science Olympiad team. In some cases, it may be a best practice to establish an application process for adult volunteers who are interested in becoming coaches on your team. Secondly, encourage all of your volunteers to review this presentation as well as the other 4 videos in our basic training series and any information about physical, emotional, and sexual abuse provided by your school. Clearly explain rules and behavior expectations to both your coaches and students, as well as your parents who are involved with your Science Olympiad team. And from the very beginning of the year, be clear and direct about pointing out any inappropriate behavior amongst both students and coaches. That's going to do it for this video and for our basic training series as a whole. If you have any questions about anything that was on this particular video or any of the 4 other videos, or maybe about something that wasn't covered in any of the videos, please don't hesitate to email us at hisciolympiad@gmail.com. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you at a Science Olympiad tournament in the very near future.